Okay, and we're recording, and welcome to the Golden Spiral Media Fall TV Preview. This actually, as you might have guessed by now, is just an experiment because, Emilee, why don't you tell us how this idea came about?
Well, I mean, after Dragon Con having all of these fan panels, I'm like, we have got to find a way to do this in real life because this is the coolest thing ever. I mean, if you haven't already listened to Kevin's Arrow fan panel from Dragon Con, it's released on the Arrow Squad feed. It's just awesome. You know, you have a bunch of people sitting around talking and people getting to ask questions. And so this would be a great opportunity for just listeners to chime in, for us to interact with them this way and have it, be a little bit more fun like that. So that was my goal. Like, I would love to be able to do this for Arrow Squad, maybe not on a weekly basis, but at least every once in a while. This is a lot of video time for me. So
yeah, well, you had practice with the Berserker cast, and
I hope Daryl's listening. No, just kidding.
But the other thing that motivated me when you mentioned that is that I had been doing Periscopes, and at Dragon Con I was able to do a Periscope from the Walk of Fame, which is probably highly against the rules, but
yeah.
But and we did that anyway, so it was kind of a idea. And in fact, Jamie down here in the bottom right hand corner, he's my expert at work. He can tell me all the different things that I have to.
I spent pretty much all of last weekend on Blab, just messing around with sound settings and everything, and just I'm about to launch a personal podcast that I used to be on GSM last fall that we're going to do each week on Blab. So that's why I was doing it.
Excellent.
Yeah, so for those of you who may not recognize everybody, my name is Mike, and I'm the podcaster for, 12 Monkeys, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Extant on Golden Spiral Media. And, of course, my Continuum podcast logo is showing up here at the top. That's my outside of GSM podcast. And, Emilee, what are you up to?
I am also a Golden Spiral Media host. I do Arrow Squad and the upcoming Supergirl, and recently completed Berserker cast for Falling Skies. And my co-host, I don't know which side actually to point at.
He's down here for me.
Okay. And Kevin, who are you?
I am with Emilee on the Arrow Squad for GSM, and I've done a few other podcasts from time to time, I think.
Just a few, though, right? I mean, not too many.
A few, maybe 1,000.
The cake.
And I guess I'm Jamie. I was with GSM last fall. I did Sleepy Hollow last fall. And then I left to start my own network. And I
Second Course Media, as we see.
Yeah.
my window. And we do all different kinds of. We started as mainly TV, but now we have a guy who's doing just random, topics each week. And I'm not loud enough, so let me turn myself up.
It sounds okay. That sounds good.
But yeah, that's who I am. I don't want to. I feel guilty talking about my podcast and my network on a different network.
Well,
so I'm not going to.
And just so you know, Kevin and Jamie, I'm going to rotate some other people in here as we go along. So don't feel bad if I boot you.
Feel bad. Take it.
Let's go ahead and start our topic because actually, I actually came up with the topic today just to have something to talk about. And a lot of the shows that are coming out in the fall, Emilee and I don't necessarily either follow or are even planning on watching. So what we need people to come in here, as Kevin and Jamie are doing, to tell us about these shows if you watch them and give us a little hint as to what they're all about. But there's a lot of genre television this fall, mostly returning, but a few new shows as well. And we're only going up through November. So if your show is coming back in December or January, and there are a few of those, we're not going to get quite that far with it. So, and Emilee, we can just alternate back and forth on these.
Sure. Sounds good.
So obviously we have to start.
So of course you put one at the top so you could start. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, to be fair, these are chronological.
Okay.
And so two shows that have already started are on the same night on Sci-Fi, and that is Continuum, which started on September 11th here in the States anyway. And so the second episode of season 4 is going to be airing tomorrow. And that's in the final 6 episodes, the final season of Continuum, as I'm sure many in the chat are already aware. Continuum is going away, and that's a sad day.
I know.
But been enjoying that one, and of course, that's a big part of usually the summer, but this year it's in the fall.
Yeah, usually isn't it ending about this time?
Yeah,
In the past, yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, that's actually how I met both Mike and Emilee, was because of your Continuum podcast.
Oh,
yeah?
that's right.
Yeah.
Aw. Good memories.
Yeah.
And it's been downhill ever since. All right. So the next item is actually, I think it airs before Continuum, like in the evening. Z Nation, that started last week. Is it already in season 2?
Yes.
yeah.
I'd never heard of it before, so I was like, I thought it was new. Comedic look at zombie apocalypse. And anybody here watch this one?
I have not. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, I must have done something.
And I'm not a big zombie fan, but I do like that all the different zombie shows that are out there, and this is certainly not the only lighthearted one. We also have iZombie returning, but they all have a different flavor. Z Nation is very different, even from its comedic partner iZombie. They're very, very different shows. And then you've got Walking Dead, which is in turn very different from, what's one of the other zombie ones? Well, Fear the Walking Dead, I guess. Although those aren't that different, but. All right, and next on our list we have coming up very soon. Now, these are the ones that are coming in the next week, and Doctor Who is the one that's starting in 2 days. I know Daryl is very happy about that one. And that's on BBC America, September 19th. Season 9, and unfortunately,
That's right.
we just found out this week that Jenna Coleman is going to be leaving the show because she's going to be taking the starring role in a Queen Victoria biopic called Victoria. And apparently that's going to be a big deal with big budget and all that. So she will not be on Doctor Who anymore. But, they rotate companions all the time. So that's not a huge deal.
Right. And this is probably standard. This would be her 3rd series, 2.5.
Is it? Wow. I didn't realize she was there that long.
She was there for half a season, then a full season or something. I don't know. I'm not a Doctor Who. I am a fan. I love the show, but I don't remember those kinds of details. Okay, next on the list is Gotham returning for season 2 on Fox, and that's airing September 21st. And according to recent news, they're going to be killing off 2 characters right away.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But I don't. Oh,
do we have any Gotham people here?
Gotham.
I know that is one of the shows that GSM does.
Oh, X-Force 11 watches it.
Let me pull in him. Jamie, I'm going to boot you for a sec.
Okay.
I just want to try this rotation thing. Let's get Jeff in here. Jeff, click on the open seat, will you?
Oh.
We should have gotten Daryl in for Doctor Who.
Yeah, he had some ideas for that. Hey, Jeff.
Hey.
Welcome to the round table. So, what can you tell us about Gotham coming back for a 2nd season?
I'm excited because of the cool villains that they have lined up, and just kind of moving a little more away from the mob scene and into more of the villains. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty good season.
Excellent. Do you know which characters that they're probably going to kill off, or haven't they?
Do you
have any guesses?
I'm still researching and making my bet. I'm not going to say. So
Okay.
Afraid to commit, huh, Jeff?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see, Emilee? I gave you props. Did you
I
see
was
how
wondering what that was. All of a sudden, there's like.
You can give someone props by clicking on the 2 hands.
Okay.
So, like, if someone makes a really cool comment, you can click on the 2 hands.
All right.
For
is this a contest, or
you can even do it for yourself?
I just want to know how. No spamming either, guys. Just because you love Mike doesn't mean you have to give him all sorts of props. Okay.
Here, let's see. Jeff, our new Gotham host, says Daryl. All right. So the next one is Once Upon a Time, which starts on September 27th. So now we're getting into the late September era, which is where a lot of shows end up, not just genre shows. But Once Upon a Time starts on ABC. That's going to be in season 5. And I think the main thing that's going on with Once Upon a Time is the return of Mulan, which I guess was something that was sought after. I don't know. Kevin, do you watch that show?
Oh, I have. I mean, the actress Jamie Chung is great. They also announced that they're going to be bringing back the Ruby character, too.
Oh, good. I like Ruby.
Yeah.
I watch it as kind of a fluff show. I love the drama, but sometimes, like, it just is so eye-rolly that I can't think about it too hard. But still good. All right. Next on the agenda, The Last Man on Earth, coming back for also its second season on Fox, September 27th. It is a 2020 post-apocalyptic show. I'm not sure what alive in Tucson means.
Oh, well, what that means is the last guy on the planet he thought he was by himself. So he's walking around. He's been painting on signs that I'm alive here in Tucson. So if you find this sign, come to Tucson because I'm alone. He was feeling very dejected, getting ready to kill himself and all this stuff. Yes, it's a comedy, folks.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Oh, that's right. Because it's the guy from SNL, isn't it?
Yeah. And so he starts to meet up with people. First, a kind of a naggy woman who he figures, well, it's the last woman on Earth. Might as well get together with her. But of course, like within days of that, or very shortly, he meets like this beautiful blonde, and she joins the group, and he's wishing he had hooked up with her instead. And then another guy comes and hooks up with the blonde, and so it becomes friends in the post-apocalypse eventually.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's a good analogy. Now I might watch it. I like Friends.
But that's in season 2 on Fox. And one that I have a vested interest is coming back on September 29th. And that's Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And just today there was a promotional poster that came out that looked pretty cool where Coulson had one gloved hand.
Yeah.
And looking pretty badass. And of course, Skye/Daisy with her short hair for her new persona. So
what do you think about her referring to herself as Daisy in the trailer?
Yeah. And I don't know if that was just during...
Yeah.
You like that?
It's a natural progression for the character. I think it's going to mean a lot this season.
Yeah, I would think at least Ward would refer to her as Skye, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure it matters what he refers to her as.
Right. I have a word for him. No, I actually, like, at first I was like, oh, that's weird. But, finally her coming into her identity and accepting herself, I really like if they're going to take that route. So her calling herself Daisy was also almost kind of cool. I was like, well, I'm interested to see where they go with this. Because last season ended so well. I am so excited for that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to know how Simmons gets back into the fold and where she is.
Simmons. All right. Then we have The Blacklist returning October 1st on NBC. And this is starting season 3. And for anybody watching the show, you know that Liz is now on the FBI's most wanted list.
Now, technically, this is not a genre show, but because Golden Spiral Media covers it, it's one of our most popular shows.
Right.
Got to mention it.
Yeah. It's more like a thriller, which could almost be sci-fi.
Yeah. And that's on my family viewing list. Definitely has been since the very beginning. In fact, in my television class, which is 11th and 12th graders, we occasionally watch a pilot show and kind of pick it apart. And the Blacklist pilot is one of the ones that we do that with, mostly for camera angles and composition and stuff like that. But there's been more than a few students who, after going through that particular lesson, they're like, "Is that on Netflix? Where can I binge watch that?"
It is on Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah.
The first 2 seasons, or has the second season come on yet?
I think it's on there. Yeah,
okay.
I think they're both on there right now.
Yeah, that's a good one. If you haven't seen the promo for season 3, highly recommend it. It is kind of wowing, kind of made my skin tingle with excitement.
But that's not the only show that's coming back on October 1st, though. Sleepy Hollow is returning, and Daryl, you might have to chime in on this. Is someone who's taking Jamie's place on Sleepy Hollow with Karen? Is that still being done on Golden Spiral Media?
No pressure, Dale. No pressure.
We are
in need of. Okay.
All right.
So if anyone in the chat room,
so there's an open seat on this Hollow podcast.
Yeah, that's an excellent
for witness prophecies.
Okay.
Oh, Karen's out too. Oh my goodness. All right, Sleepy Hollow's on the bubble. And one thing that was interesting news that came out for Sleepy Hollow is that Orlando Jones, who plays the captain, is leaving the show. No explanation. We have no idea why.
Yeah,
so
like making a lot of big mix, really mixing things up big time. New showrunner and everything in season 3. It kind of lost a lot in season 2, so I think they're going bold, hoping it brings back some of the audience it lost.
Daryl, he's going back to 7-Up commercials. That's right. 7-Up yours.
That's hilarious. I know at Dragon Con, everybody really, really enjoyed those panels. I only saw like the first couple episodes. It's a little too dark for me, but
that first season is just butt. 13 episodes.
I tried to watch the episode with John Noble, and I was just like, wow. I think my soul needs a little healing right now.
Well, he can help you with that.
That's true. That's true. Well, doesn't he eat souls? Wasn't he a soul?
He eats sins.
Sin eater. Not a
spoiler. Yeah. Spoiler.
Sorry. I haven't seen it, and I'm spoiling it. All right, then coming.
I think that's
what?
That comes out right away. Sin eater.
Oh, okay.
That's brand.
Okay. Then coming out on October 4th on HBO, we've got The Leftovers, which I know nothing about. I'm sorry. I failed.
That's something that we need Dave to be here for because he watches that.
Dave.
Anybody in the chat room who wants to chime in with The Leftovers because it seems really cool and apparently it improved past the 2 or 3 episodes that I saw.
That is created and produced by Damon Lindelof?
Yes.
I believe so, yes.
Is it based off of a book or something?
Yes.
Okay.
According to Yogaban, yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay, cool.
Okay, so no experts on that one. Anybody who wants to take the 4th seat, I'm just going to rotate people through. I would have kicked
Kevin by now. Kevin down there.
Go ahead, try to take it. Try.
But the next one that's on our list actually is one that's near and dear to the DC folks that are in the room. The Flash, and I promise you I am going to get caught up on this show.
You better.
Because I did give up on it, but I'm told that there's time travel and I need to get back on the horse.
Oh, yes. You know, me and the Shadow from Arrow Squad were podcasting about the show for the first half of the season, and I will say that I struggled with it a lot, having a lot of nitpicks and a lot of questions with character nuances that I wasn't really getting into, but I swear, like as soon as we handed it over to the comic book experts, it got good, and it got really good, and the story all came together, and I am totally looking forward to the second season. So we won't say anything more on that because pretty much any speculation that we'd have on season 2 will completely spoil the time travel component to it. So I don't want to even get into that.
I mean, I should have known. I did see the pilot episode in which the newspaper is at the end.
That's true.
I should have known, but anyway.
Then in that case, I'll just spoil the whole thing for you. Well, no, just kidding.
Well, I as soon as I finish with Killjoys, which I have 1 or 2 episodes of left, I need to pick something new. So maybe it'll be The Flash. But next on our list is one that's near and dear to the guest host down here, Kevin Batchelder, and that is iZombie on the CW, which starts on October 6th along with The Flash. And I guess they're kind of pairing that up on the same night. And apparently this is a show that deals with everyday life as a zombie, and it's from Rob Thomas, the creator of Veronica Mars, and also one of my favorite young adult authors who wrote Rats Saw God. That's one of my favorite novels for high school readers. So what can you tell us about it there, Kevin?
Well, it is not like other zombie shows. It is very much a procedural. It has a great sense of humor, a great sense of characters. While the lead character is a zombie, this is not a zombie apocalypse or everybody knows zombies exist. So it is, for folks who enjoy sharp as attack dialogue and characters that you can totally believe and get into. This was a very pleasant surprise that just did a great job in season 1. I'm very excited for season 2.
That isn't surprising from Rob Thomas. From what I've heard about him, he's very precise about characters and character development. So I've got to give that one a shot. I just stay away from zombie stuff. So, but I remember
same thing here.
It, so
yeah, I wasn't even sure I was going to watch, and figured it would just be one of those. Well, I'll try it because we cover all the genre shows, and boy, did I get sucked in big time.
I will say though, after having put off watching The 100 for so long, and after having like you, Kevin, and Dave from Continuum recommend it so many times, yeah. Oh, and Mike.
No, I was pointing to the word Dave. There you go.
Right. I'm like no longer going to make excuses for shows that I should be watching. So I've learned my lesson. I'll watch iZombie.
Yeah, I actually wrote to Rob Thomas back before Veronica Mars. I wrote to him sort of a fan mail for his novels. And it wasn't until years later, long after Veronica Mars had gone off the air, that I realized that it was the same guy. So,
funny.
But so yeah, I might have to check those out too. Kind of Buffy-esque, would you say, Kevin? The humor in that one?
Some of it, yes. It's definitely got some Whedon type feel. For those of you who've seen any of the Whedon shows, you're really going to love the dialogue and the characters. You really are.
And Richard in the chat room says, or Knight Rider 2007. Eats brains, absorbs personality traits. Is that right?
And that's the fun. You really, a
that
lot of folks naturally
Siler.
give Tatiana Maslany a lot of credit for Orphan Black, but here it's just amazing the work that Rose does, because every week she's got a new personality, and it doesn't matter whether it's a frat boy or a contract killer or a to-be mother or whatever. That's what happens when she eats the brain. She gets those personality traits for an episode, sometimes multiple. So it really, really makes for a lot of fun. A lot of crazy stuff can happen in there too.
All right. Emilee, yours is next.
I'm totally sold. So, all right. And on October 7th, we get Arrow back.
Woohoo!
For its fourth season. Good day in the morning. And we got to see the first promo for season 4 at DragonCon, which was awesome. And definitely forefront on that promo is Constantine, the show that had a short life over on NBC. Matt Ryan, I believe, portrays Constantine, so he will definitely be having an arc. I don't know how long it is, but he will be appearing on Arrow this season. And that's one that you gave up on, wasn't it, Mike?
Yes, and that one like with The Flash, I feel like I have a vested interest to try it, but I gave Arrow so many chances. I'm sorry.
How many is so many?
Probably 3.
Did you even get into season 2?
I stopped after season 1, and then I started again for season 2, and about 3/4 of the way in, I'm like,
really?
Nope.
That's surprising, because I feel like it does the same thing as The 100 did, where it started off like really angsty, and then it died down and it got into the mythology. But yeah, I guess Oliver's too much.
Maybe I just didn't get far enough. But yeah, the 100, you're right. It did do the same thing where I was saying enough of this love triangle stuff, and then they did get past it. So.
Yep.
Well, not every show is for everyone, so we all love different ones. Yep.
Even if you're wrong.
And speaking of shows that aren't for everyone, American Horror Story starts on FX on October 7th, along with Arrow, and this one is one that reinvents itself every year, usually to great effect. I think it's a very unique idea to start over with the same actors playing different roles, but Kathy Bates and I'm forgetting the other actress that used to do it every year.
I've never seen it.
Kathy Bates and Jessica Lange. Thank you. Bonita wins the prize. used to do it every season, and then they stopped doing it. But this season, it's going to be Sarah Paulson of Deadwood and Max Greenfield of New Girl. And the theme this time is hotel. And apparently, it's mostly mysticism coming through like drug use and really graphic scenes of keyholes where there are needle marks on people's arms and really like gross stuff.
Yeah.
They like to freak people out.
It is horror in a big way.
Yes.
Horror.
That's season 5, by the way, of American Horror Story.
Wow. All right, and then everyone's favorite, The Vampire Diaries, comes comes back on October 8th. So excited for season 7.
Season 7. Wow.
I'm only giving Kevin crap.
Hey, the first few seasons of that show were outstanding. Plot-wise, they really had a lot to say. And then it went into the angst show and traditional CW approaches. But for a while there, really strong.
Yeah, and apparently this season, Mystic Falls is plagued by vampire witches.
Oh.
And if that's not a selling point...
Something new and different.
Oh, Lady Gaga is going to be on American Horror Story. Yeah, Jamie.
He was kind of spamming the chat there for a minute. I wasn't sure what he was referring to.
Lady Gaga, Lady Gaga, Lady Gaga. Oh, now I see it, of course. And that's one thing, stepping back into the meta mode for exploring Blab. When you have two hosts, one of them has to be watching the chat, chat, okay. And then the other one is, I don't know, I guess just leading the discussion. I don't know. Not in this case, but yeah, the companion to Vampire Diaries, also starting on October 8th, of course, for season 3, is the originals. And that might have a different flavor for some folks because, you know, it's the people who started the whole family line that leads to Vampire Diaries. So it's kind of a prequel of sorts. But,
I can't believe it's already in its 3rd season.
3rd season, yeah. But apparently they're exploring the new lines that have been sired now that the Trinity or something like that. There's something with the Trinity coming into play.
Do you watch the show or are you kind of...
No, I'm just going from what I read.
Okay. All right, and then on Sci-Fi we've got Haven premiering on October 8th, and this is season 5 part B. Is it split into 2 13 halves? Is that what this means?
Yeah, this is the most unique thing I've ever seen, where they gave them an order of 26 episodes, and then they split it into 2 halves. How strange.
You know, it's not strange for Sci-Fi to split them into halves. I mean, they used to do that with like Eureka all the time, but 26 episodes, that's weird for one season.
I think that's got to be the business side of things where they had the actors or the staff under contract for 5 seasons only. So in order to get the episode count they wanted, they split it into huge ones.
Oh, okay.
It just seems to be a business decision.
Roping them in. Yeah, and apparently this half season on Haven is in lockdown.
Ooh. And then another big returning show for Golden Spiral Media. Oh, Kelly says that after 5 years, contract costs go up. So that's probably
interesting
how it works. But The Walking Dead is coming back to Golden Spiral Media, and it's coming back to television on October 11th for season 6. And they're really dealing with some human drama this season. I don't actually watch the show, but I get the sense that Rick Grimes is not very pleased with his own choice to have to actually start taking out people other than zombies.
I don't know why. It's such an upbeat show.
There has to be someone in the chat room that can take the 4th seat for Walking Dead. Come on.
Because I watched the first episode and hurled when they started eating the horse. And never went back. That is the first time I've ever puked while watching a television show. It was so gross. I think it was a horse.
I think it was a horse.
I didn't want to look too hard.
Yeah, it's pretty bleak. I mean, it's pretty well made, but it's pretty bleak.
Anybody in the chat room watch The Walking Dead and want to speak to its usefulness, watchability? Because I know it doesn't have a very big following, so, you know, whatever plug it can
get. Only it's really ratings challenged, isn't it?
That was sarcasm.
Yeah. Well, the next one was a buyout for Netflix, I think. Emilee, you got that one?
Okay, so Netflix, season 3 of Hemlock Grove will be, I'm assuming when it comes to Netflix, they put them out all at once.
All of them, yeah.
So all of season 3 of Hemlock Grove will be available October 23rd. And this is the final chapter with werewolves, psychics, and supernatural creatures. Nothing about vampire witches, though. So,
so I might not.
This isn't the show for you.
Gotta go to the Vampire Diaries for that. Right.
And the last of our returning shows before we get into some of these new ones is Grimm, which returns to NBC on October 30th for season 5. And the question here is, well, Juliet, is she really dead? And of course,
she better be.
Between season 3 and 4, they brought Captain Renard back. So is Juliet really dead?
Dead is dead.
Or is she mostly dead?
Only mostly dead.
What do you say she better be, Kevin?
Well, only from a narrative point of view. I mean, that was a very impactful story, what happened to her. So, unlike some shows that, let's face it, supernatural shows that do that, if they do it, they're really kicking their listeners and viewers while they're down, in my opinion.
All right.
But that's one guy's opinion.
What are you making, Kevin?
Dinner.
Can I have some?
But hey, I was, this was the experiment. I was going to be the mobile host.
Yes,
you were doing a very good job. Thank you. There is an open seat, so if anybody has anything to say, jump on in.
Yep.
Yeah, come on, jump in.
You might need to get Jamie back in here if he's still in the chat room, since no one else is coming in.
Such a lonely square. All right, so now we are moving on to new shows, and most of these are sci-fi, but the first one here is kind of akin to The Blacklist in that it's a thriller, but it's The Blind Spot, also on NBC, airing on September 21st. This one focuses on a mysterious tattooed woman who has lost her memory and does not know her own identity. The FBI discovers that each tattoo contains a clue to a crime they will have to solve. Wow, this is like Prison Break meets The Blacklist almost.
Yeah, now I put it on the genre list because it's unexplained, right?
Well, then it's also being produced by Greg Berlanti, who does Arrow, Flash, Supergirl. He has one more show.
Now, Richard, who is Knight Rider 2007, he says the pilot looked awesome. Now, Richard, did you see it at Fan Expo in Toronto, I'm guessing?
Oh.
Did they preview the Blind Spot pilot there? I know they did it at Comic-Con. So some people see, oh, nope, on the internet, he says, okay.
Well, that's okay, too.
Might.
Yeah, and
a pilot leaked to the internet? Can't be.
Never.
Benita pointed out that the main actress for the show is Jamie Alexander, who people either know from Kyle XY or from the Marvel movies like Thor as Lady Sif. She also had a couple guest stars on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
Yes, indeed. Some of my favorite appearances, actually. But yeah, that's the main draw. So I hear from one of our Golden Spiral Media hosts, Aaron Peterson, that I don't think he cared for it that much when he saw it at Comic-Con. Okay. But, I'll probably draw my own conclusion there. I'll probably check out the pilot.
Oh, I'm totally watching this show. It looks fun. I love tattoos.
The next one on the list is Minority Report. Now, I got an advance copy of this one because I was one of my fall assignments for Den of Geek is going to be in the Minority Report. But I'm sad to report that it wasn't that good.
Oh, no. I've actually never seen the movie, so don't spoil anything for me.
Well, and the thing is, I thought that because 12 Monkeys came from a movie and did quite well, that they could maybe duplicate the success of that with Minority Report. And maybe they will. Maybe they'll pull it out. But it basically just feels like a procedural.
Huh.
With the police officer being someone who is without the future, what do they call it? The pre-crime elements of the movie.
Precog.
Yeah. And the precog is her sidekick, which is like this consultant thing. Because you have so many shows like Elementary and The Mentalist and shows like that where you have that same formula. And they're basically just placing that in a sci-fi setting.
Huh.
So basically this one is
kind of like what Almost Human tried to do.
Yeah, it's a mix.
Yeah, that's my thing. Why didn't they just renew that instead?
If you take Almost Human and mix it with Sleepy Hollow, that's what you got. Because the relationship between Megan Good and Stark Sands is very similar to the one between Tom Meissen and Nikki Bahari. So
Kelly says it's because Carl Urban is
Kelly
more
pointed out in the chat, Carl Urban. But that's also because he's good.
That's right.
I know. When you don't renew a show Carl Urban is on, I mean, I was like in tears.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do this?
But the interesting thing about Minority Report, which by the way starts on September 21st, just like Blind Spot, is that instead of reinventing the main characters from the movie like 12 Monkeys did, they just fast forward. So it's set in 2065 Washington, D.C., which is 11 years after the 2002 film, where pre-crime has been gotten away with. But the precogs are still around. They're in hiding. So Dash kind of rejoins society. He's one of the precogs. And this cop who's been kind of had the credit taken away from her quite a bit by her superior officer works with this precog to sort of get the upper hand. And at the same time, you know, Dash has to seek out his missing twin and try to keep his gift from being revealed. And there are those who want to obtain the precogs at any cost. Dun, dun, dun.
That's a bummer.
Yep.
Oh, well. Another show being made based off of a movie, but it wasn't that long ago, is Limitless, airing on CBS September 22nd. I kind of watched the movie. I fast forwarded through a lot of it because I'm not a huge Bradley Cooper fan. I loved him in Alias, but you know, beyond that. But anyway, so Limitless is based on the film, with the story taking place after the events shown in the film. It focuses on Brian Finch, played by Jake McDorman, whom I only know from the show Greek. Don't judge me. He discovers the power of a mysterious drug called NZT-48, which increases his IQ to 4 digits and gives him perfect recall of everything he's ever read, heard, or seen. But
it probably has some detrimental effects on him and side effects and things,
very
just
likely.
like in the movie.
What I always, I mean, the detrimental effects, the health side of things always seems to be the let's see, how do you say this? These shows where it seems like these people have limitless abilities. I don't know if you would. It's not like Superman-like, but it's like the only things that threaten them are people trying to take away their gift and their health. It does. I have a problem seeing any other form of. Sorry, my mother's calling. Just mute her. Sorry, Mom. Anyway,
hope she's not watching.
I have a problem seeing enough conflict for the show to be very entertaining. You know, like does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, it's doing the same thing Minority Report did, which is picking up where the movie left off, which is okay, I guess, but it makes the movie devoid of lessons almost. Because if we learn nothing from the movie and we're just repeating the same thing, it doesn't have much relevance. As with 12 Monkeys, they're just retelling the same story. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
and I hated the way that the movie ended. I was like frustrated, but so I probably will not be watching this one. If
me either.
Clear.
I'm noticing that the next one, though, is also kind of a reinvention of sorts, which is on September 24th. NBC brings back Heroes in the show Heroes Reborn, which takes place 1 year after a terrorist attack in Odessa. The attack destroyed the city, and the government blamed those with extraordinary abilities. Consequently, they must live in hiding or flee from those with bad intentions. And two such vigilantes, Luke and Joanne, lost someone important in the event and seek revenge. And apparently they're going to be preceding this with some digital content online that will introduce the new characters and the storylines, which is actually kind of similar to what Heroes did back in the day. Kelly says she liked the webisodes, so we should probably check them out.
Cool. That's a good idea. Yeah, I'm the only reason I'm actually, well, I'll take that back. I loved the first season of Heroes, as did probably most people. But I just want to see Zachary Levi back on my television again. It's been too long since Chuck.
Yeah, there's a couple of characters there that if they focus on the right ones, we could have some fun times again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they got a lot of returning people.
just to roll back a little bit, one show on the news side that we didn't mention, going back to the 22nd, I believe it is Scream Queens.
Scream Queens.
Okay.
I haven't heard of that one. Want to clue us in?
Yeah. That one, it looks like this is a Ryan Murphy show.
Oh.
American Horror Story and other things. So and he tends to usually come out of the gate good in the first season. So it's basically a sorority house with a lot of issues with killings and some other odd things. It's got a very strong cast. It's even got Jamie Lee Curtis. So it's I'm looking at this show as being potentially for me a guilty pleasure in the range of I can't believe they did that kind of stuff. We'll have to wait and see. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to go strong for many seasons, but this is one where I'm like, okay, I'll watch a few and see if I have some fun with it.
Okay.
All right. Never heard of that one, so that's good.
Cool. Thanks for filling us in. All right. One I am particularly excited for is Supergirl, airing on October 26th, CBS. I know this is shocking.
I didn't know that.
I know this is shocking. I like superhero shows, if that hasn't become clear already. And I will be doing a podcast with Karen for this on Golden Spiral Media. So we'll be announcing, it's not a secret by any means, but we haven't really announced it with anything.
Does it have a title yet?
Yes, it does.
But we're not going to say it.
I'll say it. Made of Steel, but made is M-I-I-D.
M-A-I-D. I like it. The Made of Steel podcast with Emilee and Karen.
Yes. The Scarlet Cougar and Miss Ice. Bum, bum, bum.
So tell us this plot line, though. So
Supergirl, in the comics and otherwise, follows Kara-El, the cousin of Kal-El, a.k.a. Superman, a.k.a. Clark Kent. And in this retelling of the story, she is living and working in National City when she finally comes out of the shadows and debuts her Kryptonian powers to the world by saving an airplane. And the events that follow, that unravel in at least the pilot episode, really set up the tone for the whole season, in that there are people actively working to keep her subdued and not use her powers. And so she has to decide whether or not it's a good idea to form an alliance with them and to help them, or to go about her superhero savings in her own way. So I'm looking forward to it because I really think that the female superheroes are significantly lacking in television and movies. And so I'm just really hoping for, a strong female lead who can show us the, bright side of kicking butt and rocking it in a mini skirt. Hey-o.
And cape. Which I hear it takes a while for her to buy into that particular piece, but maybe I'm misinformed. I don't know. Knight Rider says the pilot looked a little bit cheesy, but hope it gets better. And Jimmy Olsen changed a bit. Yes, he did.
I really like what they did with Jimmy Olsen. Yeah. Hey, Dave does too.
Yeah, no, I thought it was
Dave or is that Wayne?
Is that Dave or Wayne?
A good title.
Dave is under tuning in, or no, I guess he switched. That is Dave. But,
really?
Well, because you were under the Sci-Fi TV rewatch before, so I was confused. But the one thing about Supergirl I want to mention also is that I know a lot of people have already seen the pilot, but that one's going to be airing at 8:30 to 9:30 on the 26th. But then its regular time is 8 p.m. starting November 2nd.
Oh, forgot about that.
So be a little bit off on that first night. Now, the next one is something for, if Wayne were here, he would be loving it. And that is Ash versus the Evil Dead, which starts on October 31st, appropriately enough, Halloween night on the Starz Network. And Bruce Campbell is actually reprising his classic role as Ash from The Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. And these were movies that came out when I was in high school, which I wasn't a big fan of it, but a lot of my friends were. So he's basically this aging guy now. He's still got the chainsaw hand. He's still a monster hunter who spent the last 30 years avoiding responsibility, maturity, and the terrors of the evil dead. But when a deadite plague threatens to destroy all of mankind, Ash is finally forced to face his demons, personal and literal. So it's kind of like, Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger coming back for another action film.
Which unfortunately happens just about every year. Oh, Bruce Campbell. He's a riot.
Have you folks seen the trailer for it, the extended ones?
Mm-mm.
I have not.
It looks like it's going to be a riot. You also got Lucy Lawless in here just with a role as well.
Oh, right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's looking. I'm trying not to get too excited because it's also on Stars, so it's on a cable network, so they're not going to be restricted in what they can do. So could be cool.
All right.
I'm waiting to see if Dave has something to say about this. In his dark lair.
I'm too lazy to walk 10 feet and turn on the studio.
Turn on the
light.
Where's your clapper, man? No?
It just got darker.
All right, hold on.
There he goes.
All right, we guilted him into it. I like it.
There we go.
There we go.
All right, so we have light. Oh, let's see. All right, no microphone. It was too hard to get the USB mic out of the box, so.
Well, that sounds
So
actually
here
pretty
we
good.
are.
And that's the thing. It's like Kevin's using his built-in mic. It sounds perfectly fine. I don't think it's necessary. The only thing, and again, stepping out and going meta for a minute, this Blab thing, it's recording this whole thing. And so you get an email link after it's over that gives you the video that you can download, the audio that you can download, and the embeddable link that you can put on your website.
Oh, interesting.
So that's pretty cool, except the one that I did download was kind of low quality. So I'm not sure you could translate it directly into a podcast like you can on Google Hangouts. But
Uh-oh. Oh, so you mean
Yeah,
like we
one
have to
thing-
figure out a way to record this with your soundboard too?
well, it's taking your mic, it's taking my mic, it took Jamie's mic when he was in here, but it still doesn't sound that great when I download the link later. So just something to keep in mind. It's a good thing for a live event, but not necessarily for a regular podcast. So.
Okay.
And in my case, I'm actually using a Bluetooth headset, so I'm not using the phones.
Oh,
mic.
okay.
That explains so much.
Did you guys already talk about Arrow?
Yes. But we can totally go back to it.
Yeah, you want to go back to it, Dave? Go for it.
I heard rumor that Oliver Queen, based on the domestic life that he's worked for himself, that he's basically put on a few pounds, and we're not going to see the six-pack abs in this episode. It's actually going to be about him losing weight this season. Now, is that true?
No, wait a minute. I heard it was going to be 23 episodes of vacation videos for Olicity.
No.
Oh my god. Home videos. I'm pulling for salmon ladders at least one in every episode. So maybe that's
You're going to get to see him take out the trash. That's what you're going to get to see, Emily.
hey, I'll take what I can get. All right.
You're
So
next. You're next.
next
Claire.
on the list is Marvel's Jessica Jones, airing on Netflix, and those will all be released November 20th. So this story follows a tragic end to Jessica's brief superhero career. She tries to rebuild her life as a private investigator, dealing with cases involving people with remarkable abilities in New York City. And did you know who they chose to play Jessica Jones?
Oh, yeah, because of Breaking Bad, I recognized Kristen Ritter. And this is the one thing that excited me about Jessica Jones, because the premise seems a little bit strange. I know that's what the comic is about, but it doesn't seem like Marvel-esque.
Yeah, I mean, like, Kristen Ritter just surprised me, because, like, the only things that stick out in my mind are her roles on Veronica Mars and then on Apartment 23 or something. that short-lived half-hour comedy.
Who was
the
Veronica Mars?
Well, she was Gia.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah. I just rewatched the movie recently, which is why it was right in here.
Well, Knight Rider says the same actress from B in 23. Is that the one?
Yes, B in 23. Yeah.
You said apartment
B
23
in
or
apartment 23, something like that. There's a rhyming thing to it, which I suppose B23 is.
Well, I definitely like that actress, but I'm just curious, like, if it's in New York City, are they going to be following the same kind of tack as season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they're finding people with abilities? I mean, New York City, of course, being the site of the alien invasion in the Avengers.
That's my first thought, too. Okay, so it's Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. That was the name of the show.
Oh, okay. That kind of bee.
That kind of bee.
Not like floor bee or anything.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was my first reaction to at least the description of it. I don't know the comic at all, I should say. But
Kelly's saying that Luke Cage is going to be in it. And of course, Marvel's the Luke Cage is another show that's Marvel's putting out eventually.
What is that, like next year?
Yeah, in 2016. Yeah. Most of the Marvel properties are not fall shows. Jessica Jones is the only one that's on our list right now. But
do you know how many
other ones are coming out in winter? I don't. Anybody know how many episodes Jessica Jones is getting? Probably 13, I would think.
Yeah.
Think.
Isn't that how many Daredevil got?
Mm-hmm. And the last one that I'm hoping that I'll be reviewing for Den of Geek, Dave and I have definitely enjoyed it when it first came out as a pilot on Amazon, and that's The Man in the High Castle. And the entire season of that will be dropping on November 20th, and that's the latest one. In fact, that's the Jessica Jones and Man in the High Castle are the only ones that we have on the list that are in November. But The Man in the High Castle follows an alternate history of the world in which the Axis powers won World War II. And so the United States has been partitioned into three parts. The Japanese puppet state of the Pacific States of America, which comprises the former United States west of the Rocky Mountains. And then there's a German puppet state that comprises the eastern half, and a neutral zone that acts as a buffer called the Rocky Mountain states. And so you see stories from both sides of the divide, and they're very different. The Pacific states are very different from the eastern United States.
I was a little distracted by Dave's show and tell.
Dave's show and tell, Mike. Yeah, you're doing well.
Oh, the Philip K. Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had my script up, so I didn't see the show that was going on down in the bottom right.
Well, I was laughing at his Well, he started with the X-Files, and then I don't know what the last one was, but I was trying to remember who the author
Dave
is.
does this for every live video broadcast we do. He starts pulling things off of his shelves and putting them up in front of the camera. I think the first one he did was like a Maximum magazine with Rachel Nichols on it.
Oh.
Where's that one, Dave?
Yeah, I had to come back for that. Go get it.
Oh, Richard just gave Dave 24 props in a row there.
Good day in the morning.
Dave caught up to us quite quickly in the props department.
Yes.
I only have 2 props.
You have 8. Kevin's beating us by 1. He has 9.
Dang.
That's because he gave himself one.
No love. Oh my. Okay. Let's keep this at least PG.
Dave, I need to know month and year. Okay, I got to go on the internet right now.
Oh gosh.
Oh dear.
Hey, and check that out. Without even doing it on purpose, we actually went exactly to 8:30, which is what I was thinking it would be 7:30.
Hey.
Well, we started late because I screwed up the chat room.
Right.
But lesson learned.
Lesson learned. But we got through all the
hit
new
the
stuff.
X. Yeah. But I was kind of surprised that there were no moderator powers besides hitting the record button. But
so you
Aero Squad people could do it.
You can't boot any of us?
Yeah, as the moderator, you can boot any of us, right?
Well, you can't boot anyone?
I can't boot anyone.
Oh, only me. Okay, so I have a little X that I can click on your thumbnail that's in the top right-hand corner that will get rid of you from the room.
Yeah, all I have as a participant is mute or... let's see, tap my screen. I've got mute, leave, and in my case with the phone, I can flip the camera to the back.
I can mute Kevin.
Well, what's weird is that I can't invite someone. Like, I can't force someone to come into the chat. Like, I couldn't make Daryl take the 4th square, for example.
Oh, okay.
Like, they have to push on the open seat themselves.
Oops. Okay, apparently just clicking on someone's picture gives them props. I did not mean to give Dave props.
Oh.
Dang it.
I heard that.
Look
With
at that.
great,
Did you see that
with great
comic
power.
timing with him walking across the background there?
Oh, thanks, Benita.
Hey, I have a story to tell.
Hey, Fred. Thank you. Thank you.
I have an
Go for it.
interesting story to tell. Okay, so I was at school today. I was on lunch duty, and a teacher needed help with her computer. So she came up to me and she says, hey, while I'm working on the computer, she's making conversation. What's that Dragon Con thing you guys went to? Because I saw it on my Facebook feed from more than one person. There's an old college friend of mine that went there. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Didn't think anything of it. Well, then later, I pull up my Facebook feed and I noticed that Barb Rankin has liked a photo on this teacher's Facebook feed. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I asked weird. Barb, I said, Barb, do you know and I said the teacher's name. And she said, oh, yeah, that was my old college roommate. And so apparently Barb was the college roommate of someone that Dave and I work with.
That's so funny.
Nice.
What are the chances of that?
That is so cool. I love it when those kinds of things happen.
Oh, my God.
It's a small world after all.
I just thought of that because Yogaban was clicking props on you. And I always associate Barb with Benita. They're like...
Barb and Benita.
They're like in the same
Girl
world,
power.
my same sphere.
B&B.
B&B, yep.
All right.
So, now what?
Any other topics? No. So okay. One thing I noticed as a debrief here.
Okay.
People did not come into that fourth square. Dave and Jamie were the only brave souls, and Kevin was too. But
Jeff.
And Jeff, yeah, I'm sorry, Jeff did. He left a little while ago. But I thought it was interesting that people didn't want to jump in. Like if you had host number 1, host number 2 on the top, and then you had like celebrity guest bottom left. And then the fourth square was reserved for people to come in and ask a question. Mm-hmm. That's what I think would be cool.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to depend on the personalities, as you know, too. If we just barely started, you get a few of your really active listeners, they're going to love being able to pop in to talk to the hosts.
Yeah. Benita says she would have tried to, except she didn't have the right setup. I think Kelly said she was sitting in the dark.
Well, didn't stop Dave, so turn off all of my lights.
Daryl is reserving his entire fall schedule just for Doctor Who, so that's why he didn't have anything to say.
Well, he didn't jump in when we were talking about it.
And X-Files I would have mentioned, except that's not until winters. That doesn't technically count as a fall show, so...
Yeah,
I'm representing my Packers too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess that's it, guys. And thank you for populating our chat room. This will actually also be available. I'll send a link to the various people that joined us today so they can have a copy. And you can publish it as you like or just have it as a keepsake.
Ooh, I'm going to do both. Everywhere.
I like the cape.
It's getting in the way.
You got the socks to go with it on, Emilee?
I don't. Just my bare feet.
Oh, okay. Okay, TMI.
Budget Wonder Woman. That's what you are, says.
At least I'm wearing pants. This wasn't video. That was a joke. Anyway,
I guess we will wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up.
So much fun, so much info, but all good things must come to an end.
Yes. Well, this was fun. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for everybody. Thanks everybody that came in the chat room. Yeah.
Yeah, gonna have to figure out ways to do more with it. That's very cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike, for leading.